Right, next we like to see how to do the nested loop. First, two loops. Like for example, I have first for in I equals to 0, I less than equal to 0, I minus minus. I may want to say hello, and then I may want to create another loop inside the loop. I said j equals to 10, j greater than, once again, j equals to 10, j greater than 0, j plus plus, and I want to say, okay, now we like to do loop inside the loop when we want to maybe indent, okay, indent using the escape sequence or tab, okay. So maybe I'm going to hello with a subset of the list of number, which is j itself, okay. So let's try to run the program. When we run, it's going to do this, and it should get into the second loop and print the list of the number. There you go. Message start to do hello first and start printing. And of course this is going to be infinite because it's always greater than 0. So the better way is start from 0 and make it less than 10. Then it's going to stop. Okay. And it's going to print hello 0 to 9 because it's less than 10 and stop. Like that, hello, indent. Alright. So this is going to be good for like an item that you want to indent for the choices, something like that. You can use nested loop to help, and you will learn more when we talk about an array. Okay, array really like to use loop. Okay, and nested loop for two-dimensional arrays. Alright, so at this point just know that we can have multiple loops inside a loop. You can have even more inside if you want to indent and add levels here. You can make it third level. Okay, it happens the same for do, while, and while loop too. Okay, you can have nested of those. K equal to 0. So K less than maybe 5. And we do k plus plus. Okay, and then we will print k. Now if you wanted to print start from 1, you can just do k plus 1 as the value, like that. And we want to tap twice, then we see the indentations going to show up twice, like that. So the first set of 0 for the j, you print another 5. Okay, 1 for the j, print another 5, like that. Like hello has everything. So this is good for when you want to create a tree or like print a tree structure. Alright, so this is how we use nested loop. Okay, with for, which is going to be the same with do, while, and while do. Now you can test your code. Okay, test your code. So like for example, sometimes you don't know what went wrong. Like for example, this is a good way to show you the trace at the same time too, when you keep tracking on the number is showing. Okay, like the values of I, the values of j, and the value of k. For example, you may happen to say, I want to see why. Okay, I want to say hello 10 times. Okay, hello 10 times. And if you run this program, you're gonna get hello only once, and you want to see what's wrong. You may start to test by do debugging. We're gonna say if, okay, debug. Alright, so sometimes we like to do this. Create a constant, okay, as a Boolean type, debug, and you turn it to true. So when you turn it to true, it's going to print out the value of I. Then we can test that. What is the value of I? I is supposed to loop 10 times. Okay, so when you put the debug here, it's going to print that line. When you turn it off, it will never print that, and the program still function without showing those. Now when you debug, we say, ooh, it's only show 0 and stop, so that means something wrong with I. Like in this case, I equal to 0. 0 greater than equal to 0. Then make it true and you do decrement. That's why it never increments, something like that. Okay, which making you see the problem is could be this. So if I want to twist even more right here, when I get to that, I actually outside of the loop is we never know what is I. So I can just actually make I like that. Then I will see the values of I that should turn to -1. That's why it makes program stop like that. That's how you keep tracing their values to see what went wrong. So that means that's why it do the decrement when you read this. So we need to make it to increment. Now when you do increment, it's going to make your I always greater than equal to 0. It's going to print forever again. So that means if you want to print only 5 times, so you may see maybe that will work. So let's print out. So something wrong again, it's not doing it. You see, so we said 0 greater than equals to 5. Oh, that makes it to true. That's why I say I equal to 0 and print. If it's printing hello, when I greater than equal to 5, oh, it's actually, sorry, 0 is not greater than equal to 5, it's false. So that's why I just exit and print 0 right here at the bottom here. It never get into the loop and say goodbye. So that means something wrong with I. You see, when you trace that, you start to read and see, so if I wanted to print 5 times, I would say when I less than that, right? So let's see that what that do. So when I run this application, hello happened to show up 6 times, 0 to 6. And the reason we do that because the greater than or less than equals, so we need to make it less than only. So that should work now. So that's how we use the program to test. Now when you're done and you see that program is working, you can just turn this to false and then you run this. It will never show you the trace of the program because we want only 5 hellos and say goodbye when you're done. So this if and debug helps. So that's how we do the tracing and debugging, which we have the concept of assertions. Assertion is something like when you do debugging, you can use the assert to check. So let me show you how to use assert. Okay, I'm going to start to show you with the while loop. I'm going to create a new class. So I showed you with the for already. So assert demo. Right, so like for example, we said while n less than limit. Okay, so we are do 2 to the power of n. So we say n equals to actually multiple of 2. Okay, 2 times n then. Okay, and we need to put int, right, initialize it, n equals to 1, something like that. Now when you do assert, this is can be a comment, say we expect it to be 1, then it's going to do the last, and the limit here we should assume that the limit should, we assert that limit should be greater than n should be greater than equals to the limit, right? Then it exit the loop here, and then n should be starting from 1, then it start to get into the loop here. So that is assertions. So let's put the limit to 5. Okay, so we see when n is greater than or equals to 5, it should assert out here. So now we're going to print out n. This is just to show the value, okay, of n. And now we not using the assertions, but the comments here is part of assertion that I try to say. Assert, we assert that before getting the loop, right, n should be less than the limit. Okay, and when exit loop, n should be greater than the limit, greater than equals the limits. Now, right, so this program works, right, as when n is 1, 2 times 1 equals to 2, print out 2. When n is 2 is 2 to 4. Right, because n always change here, right? 4 less than that limit, then we still do 4 times 2 is 8. Now we want to assert, okay, like write the keyword assert assert, okay, assert n equals to 1, because where the comment is actually where the assert is going to go, and this is going to be assert n is greater than equals to the limit. Okay, so let's see. So when there's nothing wrong, you will see that assert will not show anything. Now let's say if something wrong, like 6. Okay, I make n greater than the limit, but n not equals to 1, right? So now in that case 6 will never run into the loop. Okay, now let's see if I say we say n is greater or equals to the limit. So if I say n equals to 4, so 4 less than limit is going to do 8 and print out 8. Alright, so that's a problem that we're not seeing assertion errors before because we need to turn it on. By default it was off. To turn this on, we go to run and go to run configurations and go to the arguments tab, and you want to type dash enable assertions, okay, on the VM arguments and on the program arguments here, and apply that. Now that we turn it on. Now how assertion works is, if the statement is true, if it's always true, then you will never see exceptions. The exception in thread main java.lang assertion error. Like if I make n equals to 1, assert n equals to 1 should be true right here. And when we do exit, it should be make n greater than equals to limit. Then that should not see any assertion errors. Like if I happen to make like just simple easy, first make your n not equals to 1, let's say n equals to 2. So let's run the program. So that's getting errors at line 8 because n is expected to be 1. Okay, so let's look at another simple program to show you. I'm going to make an assert demo, and this program pretty much just read the user input for enter your age. So we just make it simple, read integer and validate asserted. So you know, in this case, when it's greater than equals to 18, this is assert. You can either do assert with the expression and also put the invalid message. So that's another way to use assert. So if the user enter less than 18, we should have seen the assertion errors like that for this type of program. So let me run that. So to, let's see, and the message also show up not valid right there. So that's how you use assertion, but you need to turn it on first. But the program that uses assertion is pretty much just used for the sake of debugging, just like system.out or something. But we don't want the program to show that when you actually run the program. We can either use this method, right? Use if the debug here, or use assertion. But make sure that you need to turn it off by just remove the arguments of this when you're done. So when you remove them all out, then you're not going to see the message, even if it's an error. So that's how we use assertion. Now break is very easy. In return, break and return. So like for example, when I do something the loop here, okay, so let me see, this is a loop, okay, so for loop, okay, so if I do break right away, this program, before I do break, so I'm gonna run the program here, it's gonna say hello 5 times, but if I do break, it's pretty much just going to take it, exit the loop and say goodbye right away. So it's going to do just hello once and take exit of the loop. So that's how break works. Now how about return? If I return, so let's run. So return, that means you exit off the main. Okay, so that means wherever you are, you say hello. We're not going to do the rest. It's just exit the main. So that's how we do return. So that's the difference between break, exit the loop, return, exit off the main. This is called methods. Exit the methods. Okay, last for each. Okay, so you can either do for, okay, in this case. Now for each is pretty much used in an array. Okay, so you can print the list of things out. So we're going to show you real quick. Okay, so I'm going to create another class name ForEach. Okay, demo. So public static void main string RGS. So it's very common that we do ForEach in an array. So array is pretty much just a group of data that has the same type. Like now we do int x, it's only one. I have to do int y and int z if I want 3. But if I do array, I just put the brackets like this and say equals to new int and make it 3 like that. So instead of declare int x, int y, int z, I just do int x and a group of 3. Now I may want to initialize, okay, by say index 0 equals to 1, right, like that. X index 2. Now array start from 0, okay, index 1, 2, and index 2, that's size as 3, right? And just put values to 3. Now the purpose of this, just want to show you how to do ForEach. For int, okay, value of x and array x. So we're going to just say for each in, remember we have to put parentheses. We're going to print out the value of x. So that is called ForEach. So it's going to print all the values in your array out, which is going to be 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so string public static void main something error string RGS not found in class ForEach demo. There is a main in here, right? Public static void main. Let's run again. What happens? There you go. Now it happens to print everything inside, but let's see what's wrong. We don't see the values. Int value x. So we say this is an array of x. You can either do this bracket after or before, doesn't matter. Print out, because I have to print the array, so that's why this is an array. It's print the address of array. So I need to print the values for each values out. There you go. So 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that's pretty much it for ForEach, and thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the record.